the way.
So you have a Sears focus. What is a Sears focus? Why is Sears focus?
Well, it's
Explain this to me like I'm a 4-year-old.
Okay. It's sort of full circle for me because I back in 2005 I was in graduate school and was trying to come up with some sort of topic for a master's thesis, and I was collecting Star Wars toys at the time, and I was just like, boy, it would be great if I could do this on Star Wars toys, but I didn't know how much of an audience I would have in the halls of academia with something like Star Wars toys, even though, you got the guy, the professor, the sociology professor from up in the Midwest who's on Toys That Made Us now. Apparently he did. But I thought, well, is there something I could go into? And I was looking at things like the blue snaggletooth, and I was like, well, Sears is pretty interesting. I was looking at it from more of a regional side of things. So my personal interest outside of Star Wars, another hobby is retail history. I've always sort of been interested in the history of retail, and so when it came time to do this master's thesis, I thought, well, that'd be a way that I could sort of tie my toy hobby in to this research or whatever. So I focused on the regional study of Sears in the Southeast United States during the late 1800s, early 1900s, and the history, the evolution of mail order and retail stores and that kind of thing. And I published this master's thesis in 2009, I think it was, and we had the old Sears distribution center that was here in Atlanta over on Ponce de Leon. For us old Atlantans, we called it the Sears building, but that got bought back in about 2010 by a developer called Jamestown, and they were looking for the history of the building, and there was a whole chapter of my research that was focusing on the history of that building. They found my research and reached out to me, and I became sort of the unofficial historian for the building. And they brought me in. A lot of the history that they know of the building, images, has all come from my research. They actually sent me on a couple of research assignments to find stuff for that project, and ended up publishing a book with a photographer who had documented the transition of the building. And so that came out, and so I sort of became the Sears guy. And I've always had this thing for the Cantina Adventure set, the Blue Snaggletooth, because when I was a kid, I remember seeing it in the Sears Wish book, and I always wanted it so much. But I don't know that my dad saw the value in a cardboard play set, even though it was fairly inexpensive. And so I started getting into buying some of the Sears exclusives, and it was a very casual thing until I guess it was it's been a couple of years ago. A guy by the name of Richard Hutchinson, he's a collector. He's a British collector. He actually did an article for Fantha Tracks about some of the Sears exclusives, and that really sort of lit a fire under me at that point. I was trying to get just the loose stuff, because that's sort of my focus has always been more about the loose toys and actually being able to interact with them. So when that came out, I started looking more at the packaging side of it, because again, you don't have the issues with the plastic bubble deteriorating, cracking, and all that. And so I started getting into more of the packaged items. That's where I'm at now. It's like every focus element of collecting. It's like this rabbit hole that just keeps sort of branching off and going to other areas. But yeah, that's been what's been driving me for over the COVID thing. That's really been a primary focus of my collecting.
Listen to the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast every Tuesday wherever you download your podcast. This is the way.